Some people think the great axe is a brain-dead weapon, an unskillful amateur hour face roll option of weaponry. You wanna know what I think? I see a great axe. A full-size 4x4 Jeep Wrangler Transforma Giga Chad Alpha Male. We're not just spinning to win, we're out here mowing the grass of the battlefield, chopping down every peasant in sight, and weed whacking like we're getting paid for it. So the next time you pick up a great axe, just know you're not just choosing a weapon, you're choosing a goddamn lifestyle. Welcome to the Great Axe Club. Welcome to Scripted Gaming. Tuned out the second he said Black Zone. I swear, these content creators are trying to get us killed these days. What's up guys, I'm Border with Scripted Gaming and the Great Axe Club, and I see comments like this all the time regarding the Black Zone. For newer players, it's a lot more understandable, but for more experienced players, maybe not so much. So for that reason, this video is all about safety and survival tips in the Black Zone. So let's dive right into it. Our very first tip is the Shrine of Invisibility. Before even entering the potential dangers of the Black Zone, we have this luxury of using this shrine, which will turn us invisible and make us immune to damage for an extended period of time. This will allow us to bypass at least the first or second zone connected to the Black Zone portal town, allowing us to bypass the overpopulated zones and bypassing potential dangers and players, giving us a free entry to a safer part of the Black Zone. And moving right along, we have our second tip, which is the mount circle. You may have heard the tip already, stay close to your mount in the Black Zone, but why is that? Essentially, when you dismount, your mount will establish a circle. As long as you stay within the circle of the mount will stay there and you can simply remount and run away. So no matter if you're gathering or farming open world mobs, it's really important to stay within the safety of your circle to keep your mount active. With that said, if you're ever out in the open world and you get taken out of the circle by chance, potentially by a mob, you can even be extra safe, disengage the mob, reset, and just remount and engage again. That way you always have the circle and your mount active. Which leads us over to our third tip, which is the zone bubble. Essentially, every time you zone into a brand new zone in the Black Zone, you're given a bubble that grants you invulnerability for 30 seconds. This will allow you to run deeper into the zone without being attacked as soon as you run into the zone itself. However, upon receiving this bubble, you'll receive a debuff that will prevent you from receiving another bubble for a total of 60 seconds. So, to keep you safe in the Black Zone, I highly recommend before entering another zone or potentially going back into the zone you just came from, wait out this 60-second debuff. That way, when you enter through the zone, if there's a potential ganker on the other side waiting for you, he will be unable to attack you as you'll receive a fresh bubble, granting you invulnerability for 30 seconds. This tip can also be applied for instances such as entering dungeons, Avalonian roads, and the mists. Which leads us into our fourth tip, which is zone combat. Upon interacting or attacking an enemy player out in the Black Zone, you will be placed in combat for the next 15 seconds, which will prevent you from exiting your zone. Essentially, during this period, we will have to stall and stay safe for 15 seconds without interacting with an enemy player to exit combat and then leave said zone. The tips I can give you guys is to essentially use your abilities that do not interact with the enemy player and basically stall out that 15 seconds. You can use your ambush from your assassin jacket, you can use your ice block from cleric cowl, or a number of different boots abilities to stall out that 50 seconds and then exit safely. To provide a bit of an extreme example here in Saber-Tooth Den, you can see I'm being ganked by enemy players, and I believe I used my E to stun the gankers to provide a little bit of room to escape. I then prolonged my escape for 15 seconds, dropping combat, using my minor work boots to sprint away and avoid damage, providing just enough time to drop combat and escape into the next zone safely. Tip number 5 is traveling with an escape build. We can roll this clip and you can see I'm almost potentially ganked by a battle axe player. We run away and are able to use our ice block to negate a little bit of the damage from the battle axe E. I then continue to use my ambush from the assassin jacket, going invisible and confusing the enemy player as to where I am. I can then simply run away, use the flee, the run on the minor work boots and run away without even having to use our potion of invisibility. With that all said, just because you get dismounted in the Black Zone doesn't always mean you're gonna die. These different set of abilities can give you more time and create a little bit more space between you and the gankers for you to then run away, mount up, or potentially find the exit to the zone where you can then zone out safe and sound. Tip number 6 is knowing your surroundings. An experienced Black Zone player will always know where the nearest potential exit is in case they get ganked and need to make a quick escape. In this clip, for example, I essentially just baited over 2 enemy players just to get their attention to provide a brief demonstration, but I'm able to make some distance between them and myself with the flee ability on the minor work boots. You guys can't see it, but on my minimap I also know that there is an Avalonian Road portal nearby, so I can simply just jump through the portal and use this creativity to kind of escape and live another day. And our final tip in the black zone is tip number 7, zone population. Upon entering in a black zone, we can look to the bottom right hand side of our screen and see the rough amount of players that we may encounter while in this black zone. So for this demonstration here, we can expect between 6 to 15. So with that said, we can expect to see a handful of players while roaming around this particular zone. With that being said, it'd be very wise to stay close to your mount and stay on the lookout for potential gankers. Or if you're a newer player and really want to avoid running into players at all, you could then travel to a different black zone. Again, look to the bottom right hand side of your screen, and just like this example, you can see that there's only between 0 to 5 players that you're going to run into at this time in this particular zone, which would make it a pretty chill spot to roam around. But those are my 7 tips for staying safe in the black zone. If I had to give you guys a couple bonus tips, one would definitely be the golden rule of full loot PvP. Only bring in the quality or the amount of loot that you can afford to lose. That way, if in the event that you do die in the black zone, as let's be honest, it's going to happen eventually, you're not too sad about losing a little bit of loot. So in addition to that, I would just say practice. Use these escape builds that I mentioned in the video. Practice running up on enemy players and baiting them into attacking you. Use your abilities, practice escaping. Rinse and repeat, and just bring in, just 4.1 gear. That way if you die, you're not sad when you lose it. At the end of the day, guys, the black zone, the red zone, it should not be feared. It offers a crazy amount of content. You're really missing out if you're limiting yourself to the blue and yellow zone. Newer players, I completely understand, but eventually I think it should be everyone's goal to get out and enjoy the full content that Albion has to offer, which is definitely the red zone and the black zone. But that about does it for me, guys. If you think I missed any good safety tips in the black zone, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video and you want to receive weekly giveaways like 7-day codes of premium and stuff like that, be sure to like and subscribe and maybe share the video. That way SBI can put me back in the content creator program. That way I can give you guys giveaways every week. So that about does it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the stream here on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. UTC, that's Universal Time, and of course next Monday for our next weekly upload. But until then, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Welcome to the Great Axe Club. Welcome to Scripted Gaming.